This week on the Steam Machine podcast, hey, so I feel free to say no. I know this is crazy, but like, would you want to go to the Monster Prom with us?
Oh, woo!
Cue the music. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always are my good buddies, the Destructo Bros.
It's Nate.
It will. I forget names
It's an anime name, It Will Lee.
I'm Will Lee, and I'm dropping my training weights before we fight this one.
Oh man, that was one of the best moments in Naruto. And joining us this week is the one, the only, the beautiful, the bold, the wayward of Cross, one Paul Korn. Paul, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm also here.
Yeah, and it'd be really fucked up if you weren't and we just gave you all that intro.
They just have a soundboard of me from the last time I was on here. It's just 80% Yakuza talk, which is basically how I talk.
Kiryu.
Kiryu-chan!
Oh, man. How are you boys doing this week? Let's start with, I'll go to my left on my screen. So, Willie, how are you doing this week, buddy? Or the past few days?
It's been like, we last recorded like 6 days ago, so, I guess the main thing I was concerned about was my ankle at the time, and it's a lot better. It's not really in any pain. There's still some stiffness to it, but I can walk around without a cane, and it's more like I can face it forward, and I just put one foot in front of the other. I mean, it's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. I should be able to get back to work in about a day or two.
Oh, good, man.
Right on.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. When it's back and better, I need you to go find Marty Jannetty, give him a super kick, and throw him through a window.
Of course.
Thank you. All right, Nate, how you doing, buddy?
I do this for the rockers.
Man, I'm doing good. Like I said, it hasn't been long since the last time we recorded, so I guess the most exciting thing is I went for a 5.5 mile hike today because why the hell not? Good time. And like the weather is actually finally broken to where it was absolutely beautiful today. It was like high 60s outside, so I was just like reveling in it. So
yeah, weather's perfect the past week or so.
Yeah, thank you, fall, for finally coming and, getting rid of this horrible summer.
Fall's been edging for a while.
Right.
I got to tell you, it's even been nice here in Florida. Like the hurricane just took everything with it. Like, so it's been like 72, 75. At night, it's been like 55, 60. And then no clouds. So it's just been clear blue skies. It's been nice.
Hell yeah.
It's been nice. What about you, Paul? What you been up to, man? What you been up to this week?
Most of what I've been up to is just, work and raising the boy,
Yeah.
But, I've been, trying to get back into playing games. I haven't done as much lately. I want to get back into Multiverses. I want to get back into Sound Vortex. I want to get back into 2DX, and every time, I just don't have the time for it, or I don't have the focus once I actually do have the time for it, if that makes sense.
I can relate.
Yeah. But I've been reading some stuff lately that I've really been enjoying. A couple of comic series, actually. One of them, I've got a couple right here just for you guys' benefit. One of them is called Do a Power Bomb.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that looks great. I love this cover already.
So it's basically it's about this girl. She's a wrestler. Her mother was a wrestler, like one of the best, but she was cut, her career was cut short because she died in the ring. There was a stunt that went wrong, and basically broke her neck.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Was she wrestling? Oh, broke her neck. Was she wrestling D'Lo Brown?
Aww.
Or no, she died. Was she wrestling Rey Mysterio? Oh, sorry, continue.
Oh,
but yeah, so, you know, like, her daughter wants to be a wrestler, you know, like, and nobody will train her because nobody wants to be responsible for, you know, a similar accident happening to her. You know, like, everybody knew her, you know, like, her dad was a trainer, you know, and he's like, no, I'm not going to train you to do the stuff that killed my wife. I'm sorry, you know, like. And, you know, but she gets approached by this mysterious figure who claims he is a powerful wizard, you know, and basically he got locked in this super long war with like another civilization. They weren't able to defeat him, but they were able to exile him. And so while he's isolated, he's just like, I don't have anything to do but watch TV. And he found Earth Wrestling and he is fascinated by it. Yeah. So he uses his powers to gather champions from all across the known universes to do a wrestling tournament, and whoever wins gets to bring somebody back to life. So Lona, the main character, is like, well, clearly I'm going to do this, you know, and shenanigans ensue, you know.
You gotta love these manga plots, man.
This isn't manga. This is Western comics right
really?
Here. Yeah.
Tell me that would not make a great video game.
Yeah, I would absolutely play that.
Like, think like art style maybe of like the like Battle Chef Brigade-esque, like that style, like a 2D cartoony look, but like that could be real fun.
Yeah. I mean, you could also get a really solid fighting game out of it because, you know, everybody has their own plot and you get to see all the different endings and all that stuff. But the other comic that I've been reading is more on theme, you know, it being spooky month. The official title is I Hate This Place. It was originally dubbed Fuck This Place. It's about a couple. They inherit a ranch from a dead relative, like a great aunt or something like that. And they go there to, you know, basically settle everything up and then sell the place off. When they get there, they find out that the place is like mega haunted. Like there's zombies, there's two different factions of ghosts. It seems like there's aliens. There is some weird forest spirit that is only known as the Horned Man. You know, there's a serial killer that's like just stalking around in there, you know, just bad things upon bad things upon bad things, you know, and, you know, like, and they find out that if they try to leave, then bad stuff follows them out of there, you know, like, because they go to like a psychic to try and assess the problem, you know, and it's very clear from the first panel with this lady that she's, you know, basically a con woman, but, you know, she's like, well, let's consult the tarot deck and see what it has to say. You know, she pulls out the first card, it's the death card, and she's like, well, the death card only means change. It's not necessarily bad. She pulls out the second card, it is also a death card, you know. And then, you know, she draws another card. It is a third death card. It's like, so what does 3 deaths mean? You know, and she's like, well, there's only 1 death card. And all of a sudden the deck just starts exploding out with death cards, and like her hand is like covered in just fucked up paper cuts. It's like a Sam Raimi bit. It's fantastic. You know, like really good stuff. Like I love this comic. You can find it at your local comic shop under I Hate This Place. You can order the explicit title if you're cool.
So you're not cool because you showed us you have the original, the I Hate This Place comic.
Yeah, you have the
this was the one that when I first found it on the shelf, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, true that. I might have to look into that because both those comics. What was the name of the wrestling one too?
Yeah.
Do a Power Bomb.
Do a Power Bomb.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to make notes of both of these, so I Hate This Place and Do a Power Bomb.
I like that both of them are just full sentence titles.
I hate this place. Do a power bomb. Just put them together, man.
Jeez.
I'm gonna type it to our group chat so I can remember.
Nice.
Good call. Good call. You know how long the runs of these are supposed to be?
I don't offhand. I would imagine, just based on the pacing of them, that they're somewhere in the 6 to 8 issue range. I follow the writer for Fuck This Place, and I know most of his work isn't like super long runner stuff. You know,
that is the answer I was wanting to hear. That makes it a lot easier for me to pick something.
Yeah,
like that
I would
up.
imagine that it's something that will get collected into like one trade paperback.
That's cool.
Sick.
I have a comic run. I think it's in my stack of comics, which is out of reach at the moment. And I don't know how regular comic fans felt about it, because I know that they can be very picky when it comes to like Marvel and things like that. But I have, I think it's X-Men. Oh shit! What is it? Anyway? I don't remember the exact name of it, but the X-Men basically start dealing with vampires, and Wolverine becomes a vampire, and they need to like be able to stop this. They don't know how to stop it or whatever, so they resurrect Dracula, and there's a 50-50 chance that he's gonna help them or he's gonna fucking ruin everything, right?
Oh no, there's vampires. Let's resurrect Dracula. It feels like we're going in the wrong direction with this.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. Hold on.
Oh no, it worked out great for the Helsing Foundation.
Hey, the Belmonts aren't complaining.
That's an anime joke just for Paul.
Let me Google it really quick and see if I can't find what it's called. Curse of the Mutants. That's the name of the series. I think it was like a six issue arc or something.
That sounds like a 1960s horror movie, doesn't it? Like a real shitty one that they only showed at drive-thrus.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm not deep in Marvel DC stuff, at least insofar as like the comics, just because there's so much. You know, it's really hard to, know what to pick up, and I'm not made of money, so.
No, yeah. This was literally like I went to the comic store one day in Gainesville and was just like looking through comics, and I saw these X-Men comics that had to do with vampires, and they had the entire run of the 6, and I was like, and they were each like $3 or $4. I'm like, hell yeah, let's just snag these, and because like I said, I don't think it was a popular run. I don't think people were super into it because they were like vampires, meh. But they can.
I feel like the X-Men have a natural advantage over vampires because the X on all their uniforms is a cross already.
Oh man, I haven't been up to much this week. I've been reading a webtoon called Down to Earth, and it's super like cutesy, and it's about this girl named Zeta who is an alien who comes from Zodia, and she lands on Earth in this dude Cade's yard. And it's basically like, I'm going to stay here with you now. And hilarity ensues. And he's trying to teach her how to become an Earthling and fit in and stuff. And it's really cute. It's really cute. And I like it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'll fight you. I'm secure enough in my manhood to read a nice, cute little webtoon.
It's okay to like cutesy things.
Actually,
it is.
Kind of thing. You asked I only answered really how I'm doing. I didn't really answer like what I've been up to this week. But I've been playing a few games. That was my next question for you.
Was what you were playing this week, because I want to hear more about that. So go ahead.
Yeah. I've been pretty busy. So the Epic Game Store gave away this game Slain that Nathan was just talking about last week because he's been playing Valfaris by the same developer. And so Slain is kind of almost like a Castlevania-ish type of thing a little bit, but it's a lot slower paced and really based on like parrying mechanics. Like you don't move very fast, and it's very like heavy metal themed. Like you've got a long-haired like dude with a broadsword or a battle axe, and everyone talks very gothically to each other. And when you defeat a boss, there's a screen that says like, press the attack button to give praise to the horned god, and your dude just starts circle headbanging.
When I played that game, I just pictured that you were like playing as the lead singer of Amon Amarth.
See, this is what Brutal Legend should have been.
Yeah. And Slain is fucking hard. Like Willie, like when you sent the credits earlier, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I just blew through it in 2 sittings. It was just really fun.
I watched him play it for one day. I was like, dang, he's better at this game than me. And then today he sends a screenshot like, here's the credits. I'm like, God, this game is so hard. You've already conquered it, you crazy bastard.
Just you live checkpoint to checkpoint, you know?
That's fair.
I mean, I'm not going to say it was easy. There were a lot of moments where I was like doing the same thing over and over again and trying to figure out like slight changes to make in it. But I also feel like if I went back and played the whole thing through again, I would probably do it in like half the time. Like I feel like I learned a lot. Like
it's
but it's really fun. It feels like one of the games I've played with really strict timing on the parry, because it's not like, you know, like in some games it's one button parries, one button blocks, and in other games it's like tap to parry, hold to block.
Yeah.
And this one it's just strictly if you tapped the button like within like 6 frames or whatever of the attack hitting you, and you're still holding it at the time it hits. Like, there's not a separate input at all for parry. You just had to time it really perfectly.
This is the part I'm so bad at. It's like, I cannot get that timing for the parry down.
Me either.
The mistake I made the most early on was tapping it and then letting go, so I didn't get a parry or a block, even though I probably would have got a parry if I held the button a little longer.
And
just getting absolutely mashed.
I would really like to see how you would fare at a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, I'd really like to take one more seriously. Like I said, the only one I really played any significant hours in was Dark Souls 2, and I was just playing it because it had just come out and everyone was talking about it at work, and I wanted to be with the gang, but I was new to it, and that's not considered one of the better starter ones in the series, just because it expects you to have, played the first one.
And I keep waiting for Dark Souls Remastered to come on sale on Steam, because I'd like to pick that one up and give it a try, because I think I'll really like a Dark Souls game, but I don't want to pay full price to learn if I will or not.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
I've been waiting for Elden Ring, and I haven't seen it go on sale either, man. So maybe they're just taking the Nintendo approach that they're like, our games are good, they don't need to go on sale.
Yeah, speaking of which, like, I've been playing a lot of Beat Saber, so like I keep waiting for it to go on sale on Steam to get a second copy of it so that I can mod it, because like I have mine directly through the Oculus Store on my Quest 2. So first off, they put a new DLC music pack out this week, which was Lizzo, which I bought that, and it's been a hell of a lot of fun playing through the Lizzo songs. Like, they're not hard either. For some reason, like, I play on expert, and like the best rating you can get is SS in the game, and I've already SS'd 2 of the Lizzo songs. But like I
always pegged you for an SS. Bad taste joke, sorry.
Everyone just silently stared at Dalton in disbelief and hatred.
I was watching war movies. Sorry.
Well, but anyway, I keep waiting for that to go on sale on Steam. So I was like, you know what I should do? I should go look at the price history of games to see how often this goes on sale. So I finally looked up Beat Saber on that website, and guess when the last time it went on sale was? Literally never. The game has never gone on sale since it's been released.
Wow. Yeah, they know what they've got.
Yeah, it's got to be. It is the most popular VR game, isn't it?
It's the one that I always hear about. It's the one that's interesting to me, like right offhand.
Yeah, I'll have to bring my headset over to your place sometime, Paul, because I'd like to see you play it, because you're the rhythm game king. I think you'd be really good at it.
I've played it a few times before, just in isolation. I'm okay at it. Rhythm games, once you get good at a decent number of them, you have like a baseline literacy in a lot of things, but each game kind of has its own specific mechanics that you kind of have to get used to, and that's usually where like expert charts start to become a thing. And then each individual game, it'll vary wildly, how quickly you can climb those ranks, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, because and you know this from DDR and stuff too, is like, even if something is listed at the same difficulty, like an expert on that, there are some expert songs that I passed like breeze through, no problem. There's still like 6 that I haven't been able to pass, period.
Do they have like a number ranking system in terms of their difficulty or anything?
Not that I understand. Like, there's numbers by stuff, but I don't know what all of them mean, so...
Gotcha.
Because I'm just stupid. I just want to play the game. But, so, I guess what I'm going to have to do, though, is just buy it full price at some point, just so I can get a modded version, so I can play, like, Megadeth Beat Saber, which is what I really want to do.
Yeah, get all the custom charts.
Yeah.
All that stuff, yeah. Play all the anime music.
Yeah.
I told Megan next time she comes down that she should bring her VR so I can play some Beat Saber. I haven't played it since, like, I had my buddy of mine, Joey, that had a Beat Saber for PS4. And they had the move controls and stuff. And man, it just feels you feel like a fucking dual wielding some lightsabers, just doing some dancing, swinging some sabes. It's fun as fuck. Man.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love it.
It's a blast. I would love to be able to implement some of my music into that game, because there's certain songs that I have, like Bloodline Masquerade, Psycho Madness and stuff. I think that would really work well with that.
Yeah, because one thing I've noticed, like, there's definitely types of music where the vibe works for Beat Saber and types of music where it doesn't. Because, like, I bought a few of the DLC packs, and, like, recently I bought the Linkin Park DLC pack, and I'm like, God, the vibe is so wrong. I hate playing this in Beat Saber. Which is funny because, like, I also have Rollin' by Limp Bizkit, and that's incredible to play on Beat Saber.
I think a lot of that can come down to charting, like how the notes that you're trying to hit in whatever game you're playing do, because I know that there are some games that will have like the same song across them, and it feels bad in one where it feels good in another. And I think it like the people at Bimani, like the Konami rhythm game division, they've gotten really good at charting songs because they've been at it for, you know, like 20 years at this point, you know. But I it's not always the song, but sometimes it is. You know, there are some that just universally do not fit the control scheme that you're going for.
Yeah, and I think especially in a game like, look, I think it applies to DDR too, but Beat Saber, like, there's a vibe those games are going for, and if there's songs that just aren't going to work with those vibes, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that.
For some reason, like when you said you got the Linkin Park pack, what popped into my head was like you're just like doing it to like what I've done. I found myself.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that doesn't work. Like that's not a song. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. It's like, and it made me think when I got it, it's like, did I ever actually like Linkin Park?
I like their first two albums, Meteora and Hybrid Theory.
Yeah.
They're really good. Everything after that was, yeah. But like they I feel like they do have some song. You know what would have been there? And Willie, you're a fan of Linkin Park, right? So you probably would agree with me that they should have went with Points of Authority, or not Points of Authority. I'm sorry. What was the fucking name of the remix album they did?
Oh, I know. You're Reanimated.
Yeah. Dude, that would have been the choice to do for like a Beat Saber game, I think, because it was like where they went in and they remixed all of their first album and made it more electronic-y.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Why wouldn't they have just done that? Yeah.
Alternatively, do the Collision Course remixes with Jay-Z, because then you could be like streaming Jay-Z's part and you'd have more rhythmic complexity to it.
Yeah, because like any like actual like rap song in Beat Saber is kind of intense, because like they have DNA by Kendrick Lamar in there, and that song took me forever to pass.
Do they have a Rap God by Eminem? I imagine that
I wish.
The breakdown of that would be very difficult.
It's funny you said that. I was thinking Tech 9 or like Twista in my head. Yeah, just somebody who comes in there just spitting fast and just you're basically just playing.
You assuming I'm a human. What I got to do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I'm interrupted. Nah, but I lost it.
Yeah, dude.
Man, you're really beginning to feel like a mentally ill individual.
Oh man, I've learned that it's all about syllables when you're doing that. Like when you listen to Tech 9 when he's doing that, like, follow me all around the planet to run the game out on psychology. We can do damage, they do damage with no apology. Picking up the panic a little manic because I gotta be panic apologetic because I'm not. It's all about syllables and just being able to spread a word out to make it fit for what you're doing.
It's all about Jeff.
Yeah, it's all about that Jeff. About that Jeff. No syllables. Old grumpy.
Jeff, the secret of hip hop.
He's the secret sauce. Oh man, what were you even?
Oh, I had one other thing too. This week I wanted to play through a Doom WOD called Overboard. It's like a beach and ocean themed WOD by Moldy, aka, if you've ever seen Syriac Harris, his videos on YouTube where he has like the weird fractal animals and weird music and stuff playing, like it's like these animations with like cows that sprout more cows out of their legs and stuff. Anyway, that's the same guys did the this Great Doom series or Great Doom episode called Going Down, and he just showed back up out of nowhere many years later. It popped up in a full like 6 map thing called Overboard. I was going to start playing it, and especially because the other day I saw that Decino, who's one of the people I follow who like does playthroughs of Doom WODs, had just started doing a playthrough of it. I'm like, I can't watch this till I play it because I really want to see it for myself first. And so I was going to start playing it yesterday night, and then I saw Dina Doom, another channel I like watch for Doom, did one on one called Scythe X. And Scythe is my favorite Doom WOD of all time, but I never played Scythe X because I didn't really know what it was, and I thought I needed to play Scythe 2 first. Turns out X is an unfinished sequel to 2. But because the guy was doing all the levels in order of where they were going to be in the episode anyway, it means he just finished like the 10 easiest ones basically and then released it. So you don't need to have played 2, and it's easier than the other 2 scythes. So I just ended up playing it and played through all of it today. And it wasn't as easy as I expected, especially the last 3 levels. But man, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah?
Like, the Dean of Doom video, he had like a spoiler warning, so it was like, don't watch this part unless you've played it. So I'm like, okay, guess I'm playing that instead of Overboard today.
Darn,
and
too much Doom.
I did not. Yep. But I can see why I did it, because the 10th level did something I really didn't expect, and I wouldn't have known to look for it.
I can relate, like, when you talk about these WODs and stuff, to like when I find the new cool Skyrim mod. And I'm like, let's see how this changes things up. You know what I mean? So, like, I totally get the, like, fuck, I need to try this out. Like, I totally understand that.
Yeah, the whole infinite world of modding thing, I think, like, Skyrim, Fallout, Doom, I think, like, Mario World has a just incredible scene of modders and stuff. Like, so many of those games are just still living because people just don't let them die, and I think that's amazing.
Keeping them on that life support. Well, gentlemen, speaking of dying, there were a lot of people dead in the game that we played this week. Would you guys like to get into the O-dubs for Monster Prom?
Woo! Let's go.
So, and I'll point out what made me say earlier when I was like, oh, no shit. So Monster Prom is a dating simulation game developed by Beautiful Glitch, a studio based in Barcelona.
Huh.
Now, all I know about Barcelona is that it was a level in one of the Tony Hawk games. And it looked like a very pretty city, at least in the game. And that's the place where they do the running of the bulls, correct?
No.
Well, there you go.
That's Pamplona is where they do the running of the bulls.
Well, in Barcelona and Tony Hawk, there was a bull that would chase you around. And you had to snitch on the back of him because it's fucking Tony Hawk.
Gotta sketch the bull. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, it was a studio based in Barcelona and founded by Julian Jejuana. Help me out here. So it's like Julian or Julian Q.
You know what? I will
Thank
go
you.
ahead and pull up the page myself.
Because
Okay, so you said it's in Barcelona, so I'm going to do Spanish
Barcelona.
pronunciations instead of Latin American pronunciations. Yeah, exactly.
Quijano, maybe?
You probably. Let me see. Julian Quijano.
Julian Keanu Reeves. And published by those awesome guys. The game was released for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux on April 27th, 2018, and was distributed on Steam. A Nintendo Switch release was launched on May 21st, 2020. Monster Prom was written by Julian, Corey O'Brien, and Maggie Herskowitz, illustrated by Arthur Tien, and programmed by Elias Parias. I think that's
Pereira?
Pereira. Thank you. I'm like, I fucked that up for sure. Players assume the role of a student at Spooky High, a high school populated by monsters, as they attempt to find a date to prom. And there is an expansion to this game titled Monster Prom Second Term that was released on February 14th, 2019, which I don't believe we got to.
No, we didn't.
The second term.
No, we played one game of the shorter version because it's hard to schedule around a full group because we all have several of us have lives.
Yeah, but man, I had a blast.
Yeah, it's a really fun time. Like the writing's really good.
So what were your expectations going into this? We'll start with Nate, and we'll go circular on my screen. So, okay. Nate, what about you?
Cool. Yeah, so I didn't have very high expectations for it because, this is not a genre that I ever gravitate towards. I don't think I've ever played, what would be considered a dating sim in the past. So I didn't know what to expect coming into this. So my expectations were kind of low. Just I think I'll have a good time hanging out with Dalton, Paul, and Willie playing this. But as far as gameplay-wise, I didn't have any expectations.
Okay. And Paul, what about you?
I had heard just teeny little bits about this game, so I expected something pretty funny, but I didn't realize that it was so short and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like I expected something that was going to take up more of my time than it did. Something closer to like maybe a Doki Doki Literature Club, obviously not in tone, but just in the sense of we're following a consistent plot all the way through, and that's not really what's going on. It's tiny little vignettes that we're doing that get kind of strung together into something almost resembling a plot, but not really, But yeah, no, I was expecting something a little bit longer, and maybe that would kind of lose my focus partway through. But when because I fired it up a little bit before I played with you guys, and I was able to play through like an entire term, just kind of maybe in 45 minutes, it was surprisingly short. And I was like, oh, okay, I might try another couple. So I did like a couple of other short terms, and then I played with you guys,
Oh, yeah. And Willie, what were your expectations going into it?
Well, I was the one that suggested this game, and the reason I had is because I'd actually watched a stream of the sequel to this game, Monster Camp, being played on a stream called Secret Sleepover Society, and it just seemed like the most fun and funny thing I'd ever seen. And so the moment we were like talking about Halloween games, I was like, we probably need to have like a lighthearted and fun one in addition to having like, horror and scary type games. So I was like, what are some things with horror elements? I'm like, oh wait, yeah, Monster Prom. And I kind of figured it would be pretty similar to that game. And yeah, I got exactly the experience. What we got was what I expected. Like, I thought it would be a great time with the boys. I thought we would have a lot of laughs at the writing because it's really just funny and silly writing.
I did not expect it to be as funny as it was. My expectations going in were very much, I've played dating sims. Like, dating all the way back to, I think it was Newgrounds. They had a game called Sim Girl. That was a Flash-based dating sim that I played back in the day because I wanted, even as a young adolescent, I wanted to see some cartoon titties. Right?
See, I think that the dating aspect of the game kind of puts people in the mindset of more simulation-y visual novel type things. And I think this game is something more close to a choose-your-own-adventure or a board game. Yeah. Like, if I had to pick a game that I think it's the most similar to, there's like a multiplayer kind of board game, choose-your-own-adventure game called The Yogg, which is about an impending disaster. And, like, that's the game that I would most closely relate this to.
Yeah, I played that before with you, I think. Yeah, it was a cool one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I guess let's just jump into our experiences. Nate, I know you took some notes. I just need to find out where they were. Yeah, there it is.
In the chat.
So it was pretty cool. Like, so there's 4 player characters, and I'm glad I looked them up today because I didn't know what I don't think any of us realized what they represented before we started. So there's 4 characters you can choose between. It doesn't really affect anything other than what you look like while you play. There's one guy named Oz, who's this dude with no face, kind of creepy looking, who was apparently the personification of fear and the player character for Willie. Oh.
Hambone.
Yeah, I named him Hambone.
Yeah, I think we joked that he looked like a Heartless from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next was a fiery character, like definitely fire themed, red all the way around, named Amira Rashid, who was a fire djinn, who was played on our game by one Paul Korn.
Yep.
What'd you name her?
Named her Firebush.
And
I keep it classy.
And then the next character, who is the green character, was named Brian Yu, who was a zombie, who was played by Dalton.
Me, and his name was Nile Ohala because I did not get the memo about naming your character something that wasn't a normal name.
He went first.
Yeah, I went first.
He didn't know we were going to have goofs.
I picked was Vicky Schmidt, who was blue, and who was a Frankenstein's monster. I named her Vicky. Because I just liked her name.
Yeah. And then, is it like immediately that you start meeting the cat? Yeah, because they introduce the whole cast to you right there at the beginning, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does the world's most stupid personality test is what it was called, right? And the last question in it kind of gives you Well, I think it shows you the possible romance options first, and then the last question on that gives you like a hint as to which one you might want to pursue based on how you're planning to play your character.
And the personality questions were really freaking funny. Like, do y'all remember any of them specifically? Because they were so good.
No, but I can look them up real quick. So
I think one. I
remember.
Yeah,
one
they're
of them
different every time. I think one of them was like, "What's a statue that you would leave, for future generations?" And like one of the answers is basically like, one of your political opponents looking silly or something like that.
That's right. And the raining down the rhinoceri.
They really like the word rhinoceri. That showed up like several times in our run.
Yeah.
It's a great word.
Yeah. And then the characters that are available to romance in this game, one was Scott Howell, who was basically a giant himbo werewolf.
Yes. He's the big jock, and he's just pure of heart, the thick of thigh, and
He's a good boy.
That's the perfect way to put it. Next, another one was Liam de Liancourt, who was a vampire, who was kind of this hipster, douchey vampire kind of guy.
I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be hipster or nerdy. He was kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah, he kind of threaded the line. I would say he leaned more on the hipster thing, at least in the playthroughs that I did. But yeah, there's definitely also nerd stuff there.
I have to point out real quick, just because of my love for Anne Rice, that I absolutely adore that they named the vampire's last name de Liancourt, which is the last name of Lestat from the series, The Vampire Chronicles. It warmed my heart, my black little heart.
Then another one was Vera Oberlin, who was a Gorgon, or for you laymen, a Medusa. And
she's like kind of snooty and really into organized crime and making a lot
she's
of
into
money.
Gorgonized crime.
organized crime.
Organized crime.
I will
damn.
leave the chat now. I am sorry.
No. That joke is probably in the game somewhere. That's really good.
That's amazing. Yeah, she's basically your rich girl, like your mean girl, rich girl kind of thing. Then next was Damien LeVay, who was a fire demon. And what is this high school trope you would associate this guy with? He just wanted to fight everything. He was just mad all the time.
He's not quite a bully. He's like right on the line of it.
He's a rebel. He's a rebel, but he's kind of like if Arthur Fonzarelli was actually as bad as they acted like he was.
I went to school with these two kids that they would always get into fights, and it got to the point where they wouldn't even need a reason. We would show up to school, and Charlie and Ben would walk up to one another and be like, "You want to fight?" Yeah, and they would rip their shirts off and just start fucking fighting. And then they would both get suspended.
They say that's how the National Hockey League was first formed.
But yeah, so like that's what he reminded me of. Is just like a hothead.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
And then you had Polly Geist, who was a ghost, and she was just kind of like your fun-loving, goofy, want to party all the time kind of girl.
Super into drugs.
Yeah.
Like, loves all the drugs.
And then this one didn't really appear much on our playthrough, and her name was Miranda Vanderbilt, and she was a mermaid, but I don't know anything about her personality, because while we were playing, we didn't really see her very much.
She didn't really ping for any of us, because I think the game seems to, like, kind of... once you start interacting with a character, it will, give you more opportunities to interact with that character, none of us like initially flagged her, so she became less and less important, basically. But
because I felt like Vera and Damien took every chance they could to storm onto the scene, like multiple times.
Yeah,
a day.
Vera was definitely locked into Nile's playthrough.
Yeah.
Like, I wound up pursuing Polly in my solo runs. And I didn't talk at like the first lunchtime. I didn't talk to any of the romanceable characters. I just talked to like a coven of witches, and I think that really screwed me because the game just didn't know what to do with me.
I didn't realize that the witch characters weren't the lead witch is romanceable in Monster Camp, so I thought that maybe she was in this game, and I just missed the part where they were talking about
I know
her.
that there are secret endings, and I think that there might be like non-primary character options, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive.
That makes sense. Actually.
I was told to run through these because they were entertaining on this. So the narration for the game when we were playing was done by Sam Elliott. Right? He was our narrator.
Yeah, Dalton did a bunch of fun voices for us, and I really appreciate it.
And then there was Scott Howell. He was just like, "Yeah, let's do it." No, I'm sorry. Scott was like this. He was the werewolf. Damien was the one who talked like this. And God damn it! Yeah. And then you had Liam de Leoncourt, and then you had Vera Oberlin. And then you had Polly Geist, and she loves drugs. And then I think...
Oh my god, I don't even think you made a Miranda voice.
Know. And I think if she was the pink girl, then...
she was the pink girl.
Yeah.
I think I just gave her a voice like this. Like, I think she didn't really come up, so I didn't really ever give her a hard line voice.
We never got her personality. Paul, I know you said you did a couple individual playthroughs. Did you ever get to know that character better?
Not really. Because I focused on Polly on all of the runs that I did because it took three tries for me to actually successfully get her to go to prom. I didn't really get much on Miranda other than, she's rich, so she's got kind of the high society stuff. We actually did have one scene with her and Scott, because she's like showing him all of the different silverware, and then like you suggest making silver hands, for new utensils.
Yeah, that was me.
And then
I did that one, yeah. Because like when I initially went into this game, the character that I had in mind was Miranda, but somehow she just disappeared. So I moved my affections elsewhere quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of have to work with what you have in a short game, it seems.
I definitely made the mistake of accidentally romancing the opposite of the one that I wanted at the table. And then ended up trying to pick the one I wanted anyway. Like that was going to go well, and yeah.
So when you first started this, when we were playing together, who was your initial goal? Because mine was the mermaid, Miranda, who we never saw.
Mine was definitely Liam de Leoncourt, because I'm a sucker for vampires.
Hey.
I get it.
Hey.
Like myself, I was just seeing like what other content was on the edges, just because I hadn't messed around with any of that, and it didn't really yield anything in the game that we did.
Gotcha.
But such is life.
Such is life.
I liked Damien so much from the Monster Camp stream that I watched that I was really, really hoping he'd be romanceable in this game, and when he was, I was so thrilled that I immediately was like, okay, I'm picking him. And then when he decided he wanted to fight me, I'm like, oh, that's even better, actually.
Yeah, and then you ended up with like the best ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
you guys fucked in the back.
I think I unlocked a secret ending.
We got a secret ending. I'm pretty sure Willie was the one that got the secret ending.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm curious about in this game, and like I'm going to keep asking Paul a bunch of questions because he's the most experienced at this game somehow.
Yeah.
I'll try and answer. I don't know if I'll have much for you.
So when you played single player, did you just have control of one character and the game just went by like that much faster as opposed to us having four?
I had control of one character, but I had more days than in the multiplayer game. So like I think it's like 6 weeks in a full game and 3 weeks in a short game for the single player. So each week has like a day cycle, a night cycle, and then a lunch. And then day, lunch, night, day, lunch, night, day, lunch, night, and so you have all the different vignettes that you can do, and it gives you more opportunities to, interact with the different characters and kind of build your stats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I assume that they change like the requirements for certain stuff based on that, but I couldn't tell you.
I'll go ahead and say that when I got close to the end of that playthrough, I looked up, I decided to look something up, and there are required stats for ending up with each character, and they are different based on single and multiplayer and short versus long. So they did calibrate it for every scenario.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Once you guys started seeing, like, because this game has stats, basically, like, there was boldness, intelligence, creativity. Do y'all remember the other ones?
There was
Charm.
money.
Boldness, intelligence, creativity, money,
Charm?
and
Charm.
Yeah, charm was one of them.
Charm.
It's like,
Was that it?
I think it might have been. And, like, I just remember one of my stats.
There's
I just,
6,
like,
yeah.
when I noticed one of them started to get higher than the other, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go full into boldness at this point.
Uh-huh.
Like, how did y'all strategize your stat lines?
I played it like I play real life, man. Charm, creativity.
I kind of wanted to, like, since I didn't know what I was doing, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I don't want anything to be super low. But I think my boldness was not particularly good. I think I actually, like, fucked up a social event because of that. But yeah, so I was just trying to kind of be like, okay, well, yeah, no matter what situation I go into, you know, I will have a decent chance of having the requirements, you know. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we should mention that that's kind of the main game mechanic with your stats is basically every event that comes up, you're given a choice between 2 ways to solve a problem, usually, and either the thing is you're pleasing one or the other person if there's 2 romanceable characters, or else you're basically picking what stat you're choosing to use, and then if you meet a certain threshold, then it succeeds and you gain more stats and affection, and otherwise you fail and look like an idiot and lose stat points and probably get a funny
For
response.
instance, one of the events that I had and failed, which was pretty hilarious because my creativity score was garbage, and I didn't realize this is what was going to happen. It's like I went to the library for one, and our boy Damien LaVey shows up.
yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I have this body here. I need help making sure no one discovers that I killed their body because I don't want to go back to jail again." And so it gave you a couple options, and my dumb ass was like, this one's funnier, so I'm picking this option, and it was to disguise the dead body as a water fountain in the school. So the problem therein lied that my creativity was garbage in it. So when I went to do it, it turned out looking like absolute crap, and Damien was like, "Hey, what's wrong with you? This looks awful."
And he's like, why did you write in sequence, "This is a dead body" across it?
And I ended up losing stat points because of it, but it was hilarious at the same time, so it didn't really mind, but like, like, so definitely, like, the game, whether or not you're succeeding or doing poorly, which I don't think it matters in this kind of game, it made it entertaining either way.
Yeah.
I love when they would be like, you lost 1,000 points to your history score, but that doesn't matter in this game because that's not a stat.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, it was just tremendous.
Yeah, I remember, like, one of the things you do for money is, like, running phishing scams out of the library, you know, and it'll be like, you lose minus 10 karma. That's not a thing here, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You get 2 money, you know?
I think my favorite one in that regard was like, the teacher gains plus 1,000 coolness, but that doesn't matter because he's not trying to romance any of the students.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I'm just reading here. Maybe we'll have to try second term sometime, even if it's just in a spare time. Because in the plot thing, it says, second term introduced 2 new monsters to romance.
Ah,
Ooh.
Zoe, an eldritch monster,
nice.
and Calculester Hewlett-Packard, a computer
So that's where Calculester comes from.
a
Okay.
computer robot.
Nice.
Like, that's fucking fantastic.
I don't know if this would be terribly out of turn, but there was one thing I was going to ask you guys. Like, if there was, if you were going to introduce another romanceable character, what would you do? Like, what type of monster and what kind of school archetype would you go for?
A Kelpie, and she's a girl on the swim team.
Nice.
That's good. I like that.
The jock. Nice.
So one that I have that kind of I feel like would be a rival for Scott in a lot of ways would be another big jock character, but it's a kaiju, so it's a giant big jock character.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Hunkzilla. Let's see.
the one one that Chandra suggested when I ran this past her was a Cenobite goth girl.
Ooh.
So like
Nice.
the pins have like piercings in them, you know. So she.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
And,
I like that a lot.
I'm gonna go.
I'll let you go, Willie.
I'm gonna go against type and have a character that is an angel girl, and she's absolutely aghast at everything that's going on.
That's
She's
funny
this
too. I
whole
like
prude.
that.
She's the really
Yeah,
the
my
really Christian girl.
my idea was just like a completely vanilla human, just some guy named Dave, you know, just walking around like because of some like clerical error or something, you know. And like stories just keep getting told about like all the messed up stuff that he's doing or whatever, you know, like rumors are going around. It's just Dave, you know, just walking around not understanding the context of anything that's going on.
I like it.
I just a quick sidebar. This month, there's a game coming out called Ultra. What was it? Ultra Monster Kaiju Rancher or Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, and it is a spin-off of the Monster Rancher series where you raise kaiju monsters from Ultraman.
Nice.
Huh.
That
And
sounds
it got
so
a Western
dope.
release,
Ooh.
so it's coming out over here, and I'm like, yeah, but I think it's only for Switch.
Okay.
But I do have a Switch, but I'm just like, man, I want to raise some kaiju. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I like that question, Paul. It had some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know how like in depth we can go about this because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, listeners. We played through this like last night together as a group.
Yeah.
That was about it.
That's about it. Because like I didn't own this game. I don't know if Willie owns this game. Paul and Dalton own the game, but I think the whole vibe. We just wanted to get the vibe of it, play through it one time, and have a good time with it. And I think that it delivered on that. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
and this game offers a lot of replayability too. Like I could see us playing this again together as the group of us, and just having a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Like, the cool thing about this
Yeah.
game is it has over 1,300 possible events and 47 secret endings, not even to mention how many normal endings you can get. So, just like,
It's insane.
it has a lot of content for a little cute game like this, and I definitely appreciate it. And the fact that I think we played it, the time we played it, took us about an hour and a half to get through a full game, if I remember correctly.
Just
Yeah,
roughly,
whereabouts.
So I think there's
We
a lot
played the
of...
short game.
Huh?
We played a
We
short
did play a
Yeah, we
short
did a
game.
short
Yeah,
game.
if we played a long game, I think it would have taken like maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But like,
that.
it was so much fun, and I think playing it as a group added a lot to the experience for me, because just having all of Dalton's voices playing each different character was just
Yeah.
added a lot to the experience, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, the multiplayer also had like little party game elements of it, where it's like, you know, determining who goes first will, you know, it'll do like party game style questions where it's like everybody say the name of like a company, you know, and then it'll do like a Mad Libs thing where it's like, okay, so which company would have the weirdest product placement in Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
or, you know, something like that, you know.
Yeah, the one that I remember is name an object. So I was like a joint because that was what I had in front of me, and then it was ended up being like, who would have the best, the worst fucking weapons in a battle based on the objects that they chose? And I was like, oh god damn it, give peace a chance, man.
At least it would numb the pain, Dalton.
Yeah,
Hold on, I got a better idea.
Yeah.
we could or pull it out, or we could do this.
So what'd you guys
That
think
should
about
be-
the endings you got for your characters when we played?
I hated my ending.
You got rejected by the vampire boy.
I did. I put all my time into Vera, and then like an idiot picked the vampire boy, and it just, what do you know, it didn't work.
Well, to be fair, you confessed your love for Vera in the previous scene, and she was like, no, fam.
Yeah, it went
Oh.
pretty bad.
Well, yeah, because we had guns aimed at us, and it was like I could either kiss the crocodile and throw everybody off that way, or I can confess my love to her. And I was like, well, you know, we might die here, so like, I'll just confess my love to her and see what happened. And that was not the right choice.
And she's
It was
like-
not.
And then she called it out as like emotional blackmail. You know,
And I was like, no, I didn't mean it like that.
It was really funny in that way. Yeah, I liked my ending because, like, once I realized I wasn't going to get any more Steve, that Miranda Vanderbilt character, I kind of went all in on Scott Howe, the himbo werewolf. And I got my prom date, so I was happy.
Yeah, I didn't really have anybody that I was like properly focused on, so I was like, I'm not even gonna bother asking anybody because I feel like I'm not gonna get a good response from anybody. So I just went by myself, and it had a really affirming message about, yeah, no, you don't need other people, to validate you in this way,
Dude, it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
And then there was Willie's ending.
Which, well, I was gonna say that was really funny to me too, because the stream I watched of Monster Camp, someone also didn't have a real one that they had picked, and they also went with the go alone to the meteor shower event, which was the equivalent to the prom. And the game just goes, okay, so you just spent the last 2 hours playing a game where you're trying to date someone, and you chose not to date anyone. Good job, idiot! You lose, game over.
What the fuck was that, Nate?
How did you do that, Nate?
Shit.
I don't know if it's a Nitro thing. Okay, so for the audience at home, we have our cameras on, and I made the Titus laugh emote appear over my face a million times. But on Discord, you have the camera turn, you have the screen share button, you have the microphone button. There's now a emote react button between the microphone and the hang up button.
Yeah, that must be a Nitro thing. Or I don't have it. Anyway.
Okay.
I do not have it either.
Sorry.
No, quite all right.
Oh, wait, there it is.
Ice cream cone.
Oh.
And
yeah.
I totally derailed the podcast with Discord. So thanks, guys.
Oh, it's limiting me.
So I ended up getting a secret ending, I think, where Damien was so pissed off because Nathan screwed up something in his story that he ended up coming and challenging me to a
it's because
fight
you ate
at
his
prom
banana.
he was going to be... I did end up looking up the fight storyline, and whichever one you said was going to cause a fight there. He was already mad because of what you did.
Is that because
I
I screwed up the hiding a body thing?
I'm not sure, but it makes sense,
funny.
doesn't it?
I like this appeal to the guide. Like, I just imagine that you do this in in a lot of interactions where you're just like, no, I checked the guide on life and it says you're a dick.
Says right here on the wiki. Yeah? There's even a citation.
My sources, I made it the fuck up.
But yeah, I ended up really, really enjoying this.
Yeah, I had a much
it was
better...
a super fun time.
Yeah, I actually really hope one of these days you guys are like, hey, anyone free tonight? Let's play it again.
For sure, man.
Yeah, I'd play
I
it
would
again.
too. I just don't own the game. We played off Dalton's stream, so I think Paul and Dalton own it. So if we want to do it again, one of those two have to be the lead point on it.
Yeah.
I own a I think I own a DRM free copy. So I mean,
here's the thing: I'd want to give the
that way
devs
you will.
money for this if I decide to get it for myself, because this is a really cool experience, and for me, it definitely exceeded any expectations I might have had on it. So I had a really good time playing it. And also shout outs to everybody that joined us and watched us play through this game, because having y'all there in the audience, I hope you guys enjoyed it and got to hear Dalton's velvety tones enacting all these different characters.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like doing voices, but y'all know that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's funny. When we first got started, I'm like, do y'all want to each pick a couple characters and we can voice them? And Dalton's like, I'll just get all of them. I'm like, okay, sure.
So I had a DM, my buddy George. Shout out to George if you're listening. And he used to tell me that he was impressed that whenever I would DM a game for us or something, that I would give people unique voices and then remember those voices for those NPCs. And he'd be like, man, I can't do that shit. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like the blacksmith talked like this. I still remember to this day. What do you need? That kind of thing. But let me tell you, at the end of the stream last night, my throat was like, from doing Damien. Which is just like this the whole time. Like I'm just getting mad. I need a lozenge. Final thoughts, ratings?
Dude, like I said, I had a great time. I thought the writing was spectacular. The art style was really adorable and fun to watch everything happen. I think a lot of love and effort went into creating this game, and it really shows and shines through for all of the developers and everybody who worked on this game. Even the tiny bits of voice acting that was existing in the game was really good that I could hear. Yeah, I really like this way more than I ever thought I would. I'm going to give this an 8.5 polys out of 10 geists.
Okay. Willie, what about you?
I mean, I knew what I was going to get going into it. I got exactly what I wanted. It was an incredibly charming and fun experience. I was equally ready to go into this. Like, if I started to have a couple of bad rolls, I was just going to go all in on goofing everything up and making it all laughs and stuff. But I ended up getting a really good ending, which I was really thrilled by. And I don't know, I really liked it. I want to play it again whenever possible. I'm going to give it 8 broken rims out of 10.
I was gonna say, I wonder if Willie's gonna go 10 out of 10 would let Damien break ribs again.
Call me.
Jeez.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it accomplished a lot of what it set out to do. The little nits that I have with it, you know, have mostly to do with the fact that I'm pretty sure it's a really small dev team, you know, and, you know, so I wish that there were, more characters, you know, like, like, not that there isn't a solid, set that they have, but you know, I would have liked to see like a character that fit very specifically into my own archetype of, you know, the kind of people that I like to pursue.
I'm sorry you didn't get to fuck
but
Velma in this game, Paul.
I know. but yeah, like, I mean, jokes aside, you know, I would have liked to see more characters and see more of those interactions. But I know that even introducing one new character would, you know, create a whole cascading thing of, okay, well, how do they interact with this character? Mm-hmm. How do they go with this character? What do they, what groups do they fit into for, you know, group scenes and things like that? And like, I know that would get exponentially difficult, but yeah, so I mean, honestly, I would give it like 8.5 disco balls out of 10 spiked punches.
Nice.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and say, too, I think, like, the depth in this definitely comes more from, I feel like, replayability. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like if we did play the game 3 or 4 more times, we would have very few repeat events.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's the direction they chose to go with instead of a larger pool of characters. Yeah. And I think that's a cool distinction.
One thing that I thought was interesting, just before we get to, was how... because I saw this a little bit in my runs too, but we had like a guy that kept showing up in our runs that wasn't like a romanceable thing. He was just a guy that he was like some kind of intergalactic prince that was trying to trick people into marrying him, essentially, you know. And he showed up for like 3 or 4 different events. Like he was just always around, and it was interesting how that was a consistent thing, side plot through the game, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
it was neat.
Gave me a very Ziggy Stardust, like vibe for sure.
It's definitely a creepy Bowie moment for sure.
Yeah, like dancing in the street with no music playing. Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of everything you guys said. You know, it was fun. I did not expect to have nearly as much fun. I did not expect to laugh out loud and struggle to get through reading some of these things, like, because of how fucking funny some of it was. And and I don't know if personally, like, some of the shit the narrator said was even funnier just because I was in my head picturing Sam Elliott reading it, like, even as I'm doing the voice. So just some of the things were just tremendous. But like, I had a lot of fun doing the voices. I was thrilled that people actually tuned in to watch and like hung out and enjoyed themselves, you know, and we all had a blast. And I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 hams out of 10 bones.
Nice.
I really did enjoy it because it's something. It's a game that I feel like if I was bored one day, I could go play a few rounds of just by myself, and it would be entertaining.
Yeah. The funny thing, too, is I feel like if you wanted to, you could play a full 4-character game by yourself. You know, you don't really need the 4 different humans to make that happen. You could do a 4-player game by yourself and not lose the plot on it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Kind of role play, come up with different personalities for each of the
that. Yeah, you role play it.
Yep.
For sure.
All right.
Word. Let's get into some listener questions, brother.
All right. Let's all go to the letters. So before we get started, there's one question that was asked that I'm not going to make you answer, Paul. This one came in from Jeff that was, what's your favorite game from every console you played? I don't want to make you do that because I don't want you to be here for 25 hours. So in lieu of that, we'll move on to another question from Jeff. What was the first game you played that scared you?
Yeah, I can think of something. It's kind of silly in retrospect, but I remember when I was probably 9, I went over to a friend's house. He had a PlayStation 1, and there was a video game that he had called Brain Dead 13. It was it's like one of those interactive cartoon games, like a Dragon's Lair or whatever, and the thing that really separated it from that was that it had just absurd levels of violence, like think Itchy and Scratchy, because basically you're a computer repair guy that's being chased around by a little hunchback that has hooks for both hands. He'll swap out the hooks with different kinds of weapons, and there's just all these different ways that he can get murdered, if you stand too long, if you do the wrong action in a thing, and for whatever reason, some of that violence just unsettled me, because I guess I was just a very sensitive child, because looking back, it's all just over the top and ridiculous, and but I remember that I had trouble sleeping because of that game. So, it's a fun one though. It's one that I don't hear people talk about because it's not not a super well-known game. That style of game, people always think of Dragon's Lair, and not much else. Maybe Space Ace if you've got a cool person, but nobody ever talks about Brain Dead 13.
Yeah, I can't say.
I didn't play Brain Dead's 1 through 12, so.
What about you, Dalton? What's a game that scared you growing up?
So this might have been why I have a thing for tension as far as in games that really gets to me. I got to give it to Tomb Raider 2. Okay, so there's a moment in Tomb Raider 2 where it gets real quiet. And it's never real quiet. And and all of a sudden there's this loud crash of orchestral music, and 2 tigers come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden you're having to jump around and fight these 2 tigers. And it was just such a boom moment that it freaked me out. And I had nightmares about tigers for a week. But I was also very young. Very, very young. But I can tell you the first horror game that I played that scared the shit out of me was the original Resident Evil 2. I learned very early on zombies creep me out. Not so much now, but when I was a kid, zombies very much creeped me out. I'm like, oh my god, they're eating people!
How about you, Willie?
Man, it's been a long time, but I seem to remember thinking as a kid that the really weirdly organic levels towards the end of Super C for the NES, which was a Contra sequel, was just I don't know, strangely disturbing. Everything was just kind of biological and organic, and it was you're inside some kind of creature. There's faces that look like aliens from the movie Alien too, and it's just I don't know, the whole thing was just kind of unsettling in a really fun but creepy way. If we wouldn't go for more horror type game, I would also say I definitely remember we rented Parasite Eve 1 and 2 a couple times, and the initial transformation when everything's mitochondria just start blasting off and they turn into horrible mutants, that definitely stuck with me.
I mean, they are the powerhouse of the cell. So.
That's true.
The one that really jumps out to me is
more like the haunted house of the cell.
One that really jumps out to me is
I'm wondering if I'm sorry. I was wondering if you're going to say the one I think you're going to say, or if we're going to go with something else.
The one that really jumps out to me is I remember being a little kid. It was a game that I would not play very often, but Willie played a lot. It was called The Flying Dragon, Legend of the Secret Scrolls, or something like that. And I don't know if anybody else has ever played this game, but there's a scene in the game where you're at this fighting tournament and you fight all these guys, and then at the end of this tournament, it reveals that the main person you're fighting at the end has a second form that's a horrifying looking monster. And
I played that game as a kid.
So everybody had it. Nice. So, like, whenever they did the transformation scene, that monster scared the hell out of me. And, like, I was like, can't deal with this. Can't deal with this. Can't play this video game.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, because like the background would go black and the audience would stop cheering, and all of a sudden the dude would have like this horrible face with tusks sticking out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
It scared the hell out of me when I was a
pretty
little
spooky.
kid. And, like, it's not that scary looking back on it, but yeah. As a little small child watching his big brother fight the scary monster.
But it happens very suddenly, too. Like, you input whatever the special command is to transform the guy, and all of a sudden, he's just this monster. Like, when a moment ago, he was just some karate guy.
Yeah.
I think it's pronounced Gee, Willie.
Fuck you. That was a good one. I hate it.
All right.
Tremendous.
So,
That's usually my role, you son of a bitch.
Willie, the cooler Willie.
Chili Willy, if you will.
God,
We want Chili Willie. We want Chili Willie.
this keeps getting worse and worse. Okay, so the next question also comes from Jeff. And it is, what is a book that you love to read around this time of year? Let's start with you this time, Paul.
Well, I don't read a lot of horror stuff, but I really like there's an author, Jason Pargin. He used to write for Cracked, and he's gone full time into being a novelist. And his main series is John Dies at the End, which is it's got kind of this eldritch horror thing going on, but it's all very silly and comedic. Like, you know, there's a guy who gets possessed by, you know, a bunch of demons, and they refer to themselves as shitload, you know, like that kind of thing. It has horror elements to it, but I wouldn't call it a horror book. But I am looking forward to the new book in the series coming out this month because it has those elements. I think it's called "If This Book Exists, You're in the Wrong Universe." You know. But yeah, those are good books. I really enjoy them. There's John Dies at the End. There's This Book is Full of Spiders. Seriously, dude, don't touch it. What the hell did I just read? And then If This Book Exists, You're in the Wrong Universe.
Nice.
I love those names.
Yeah, those are good. I think I've read the first one in that series. I might have to jump back into that at some point as well. What about...
They're a good time.
What about you, Dalton? What's a book you like to read around this time of year?
So I always typically go back to two, and it's either Interview with a Vampire or Pet Sematary.
Those are good. Well, I haven't read... Well, Pet Sematary is good, but I know how you feel about Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah. I don't know how you would... you might like vampire romance horror. I don't know, but it's... but yeah, Pet Sematary, man. That book was, when I first read Pet Sematary, I think I've told this before, but I'll tell it again because fuck it. Every episode, somebody's first.
I think you told the Gage story last week, bro.
No, not that story.
Okay.
The first time I read Pet
Okay.
Sematary. I saw the movie before I ever read the book, and so I took the book with me on a camp out in Boy Scouts when I was like 14 or 15, thinking like, oh yeah, I'll read this while I'm in the tent. I've seen the movie, it won't be so bad. Bro, that book scared the fuck out of me, and I was up all night in that goddamn tent. I wasn't going to sleep. There could be fucking crazy zombie creatures outside my tent. No thank you.
Yeah, it's a scary book. It's really good.
That's good stuff.
About you, Will, what's a book you like to read around this time of year?
Honestly, I don't know if I really reread anything, really. I tend to just try to seek out some different stuff and go for, I tend to do a lot of short stories.
Got any recommendations maybe you've come across recently that you'd like to shout out?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, honestly. That's weird. I feel bad about being illiterate today, but that's just
Go
where
look at the SCP wiki.
Yeah. For me, there's this book that I really like. I've read a few times around this time of year. It's called A Night in the Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny. And it's this really interesting book about a game that is played between a bunch of what appear to be like Victorian era characters. And the book is told from like perspective of Jack the Ripper's dog. And it's just a really interesting book that I think a lot of people would enjoy. It's kind of got the horror comedy aspect to it, and I definitely I recommend checking that one out.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like it. All right, so I guess our next question comes in from DC Smokedown, and that is something that was scary as a kid, but as an adult is funny. So what do you have for that, Dalton?
It freaked me out. It freaked me out more than anything when I was a kid. It didn't really scare me. But the Burger King dude, I have a mask of him now somewhere. But like, dude, when I was younger, I was like, that motherfucker. Just like I woke up and he was in my bed, I'd shit my pants.
I mean, he's the Sneak King. You gotta watch out. You never know where he is.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
What about you, Paul?
Well, I mean, I'd say that my first game that scared me fits that definition pretty solidly. But I guess honestly, I would say that Friday the 13th. Kind of, like when I was young, the concept of it scared me a lot. Like the little bits that I would see like airing on like TBS or whatever, I was just like, oh, I don't like this, But now that I'm like watching it with adult eyes, like the concept of Jason like bashing someone into it, like stuffing them in their sleeping bag and bashing them against a tree over and over again is objectively funny.
Oh, absolutely.
So
mine's in a similar vein to that, because I remember watching the Gremlins movies as a kid. I thought they were horrifying, and now like they are just so freaking funny, and I love them so much. like Gremlins were so scary as a kid, but now I'm just like, man, these guys are freaking funny. What about you, Willie?
I'd say that when I was a kid, Are You Afraid of the Dark had a couple episodes where, like, when something really bad would happen to a character, they'd have, like, blue or green ooze coming out of them. Just oozing, and it was the scariest thing, because what's going on? And you look at it as an adult, and you're like, they just literally put some damn food syrup on this dude. Food coloring and corn syrup, and that's it.
Quick sidebar.
Yeah.
Just about things that we watched as a kid that was... this movie was probably way too intense for a kids' movie. Did y'all ever see Small Soldiers?
Yeah, I did.
Holy shit. If you go back and watch that movie, it like holds up as an adult for being like, damn, this movie's intense.
It's gratuitous.
Yeah. It's just some toys, but holy shit. The Gorgons or the Gorgonites or whatever. Like, I loved it, man. That's a good ass movie, but man, it is intense for a children's movie.
All right. Now this question comes from Con. It's actually about this week's game. Who was best boy / girl / non-binary pal in Monster Prom?
I'm just going to jump out and say that, I mean, I was very, 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 very happy with how my arc with Damien went. And I'm glad that he just kept showing up in everyone's story being a huge hot-headed goofball and making problems.
He's here to cause problems on purpose.
Love it.
What about you, Dalton? Let's go with you first.
I didn't pick her, but I got to go Vera. I dig her. I dig her style.
Yeah.
I like her attitude.
She got hustle. She got grimmett. I don't know what that word was supposed to be. She's got
nothing can kill the grimace.
Is, she got a ton of it. She can kill the grimace.
My grimace anytime. How about you, Paul?
I really liked Polly. She's just very fun. Not taking literally anything seriously. But never seeming like she was completely disconnected from everything. She was just, I don't know. She's just doing her own thing. And I don't know. It was just really funny. I liked a lot of her lines. All the stuff about drugs was very funny.
Polly's definitely a standout, pretty hilarious character. And
yeah, I had an event where she was talking with Vera, about how they can make money, and they're brainstorming ideas, and she's just like, nipples, that's how we'll make money, and then I suggested meth, and they're like, well, it could make money, but it has kind of a bad image, doesn't it? Oh, we just got to call it something else. We'll call it nipples.
That's awesome. Yeah, and there's just something to be about the whole himbo dynamic that I love, and that's why I ended up going after Scott while we played, because it's just so funny, and it's just, who doesn't want to hang around with a himbo all day? You know what I mean?
Everybody loves Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. It's literally baked into him being a good dog, too, which I think is really funny.
Good boy. Good boy.
All right. And then our final question comes in from Team Retrogue. And it is, are you going to buy a Happy Meal this year just to get the trick-or-treat pails? And for me, absolutely 1,000% yes, I want all three.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I was going to say I wasn't until you made it obvious that this is an option.
Yeah, it's like basically recreating the McDonald's pails from our youth. Like they have the jack-o'-lantern, the witch, and the ghost.
Yeah, I guess I got to get one. You win this game, clown.
I mean, I will probably get Happy Meals, but that's because, I have a young child to feed, so... That's I'm sure some nights this week I'm going to get lazy. So,
So 7 pails for Paul. Okay.
And then, why not?
I don't know if I'd call him 7 pails. I mean, he doesn't count that well, but come on.
7 pails of the 7 pails.
Just 3 white dudes in their mid-30s making a podcast. Let's go.
I guess that just leaves...
I'm pretty sure the collective noun of white guys is a podcast.
It's like a pod of whales, a podcast of dudes.
Dude, I saw a thing the other day that said singularize a movie title, and somebody just said A Crow on the Orient Express.
That's really good.
And I was like,
That's good.
I love it. I guess that just leaves house cleaning. And so then if you would be such a dear and head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review, or if you listen to us on Spotify, give us one of those big old thumbs up the butt. We appreciate that. If you would like to join the Discord, it is bit.ly/TSMP Discord. It's happening. Come join. There's a bunch of people in here now. It's grown exponentially. I love it. So,
yeah, Nathan had to go and reshuffle around all the channels and reorganize things just to make sure everything had a place where it fit in more accurately. Good work on that, by the way, Nate. You really
helped out
you really
a lot
crushed
for
it.
sure.
Nate got so high on his own reorganizing that he's like, afterwards he's like DMing us like, we should create a bunch of other little group chats and all that.
Like, more of those channels.
Hey, it's cool. You've done your job. Got more of the channels.
I need all the channels. If you want to check out our website at bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast, I think I need to update it. I think I'm a little behind on that. That's my bad. Patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. You can come and join and be like one of these wonderful people if you donate $10 or more a month. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper. Jeff, the original expendable Mr. Syllables. Old Jeffy Lube, the grumpy old man himself. Eraser Adam, shout out to his podcast. Revival and Extinction, now under the TSMP banner. And James, the Steam Machine Monitor Hall. And also Team Retro. Check him out on YouTube. We appreciate you guys very, very much.
Thank God.
If you want to get a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. Shout out the ASPod, yet another BS podcast. Shout out the JRPG Report. If you want to check out my music, nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. Paul, please plug your stuff, my good sir.
Everybody knows me. I'll just plug my ass.
Plug it good, Daddy.
Yeah.
With a little foxtail sticking out. You'll love to see it.
But no, seriously. The artists that I work with, Landon and Brandon Franklin, they're really good. You can find them on the major social medias under Wayward Cross Art. They're mostly on Instagram and Twitter. They've been doing a little bit of process stuff on TikTok, if you want to check there too. But Twitter and Instagram is where you're going to see most of their stuff. Landon is currently doing a Inktober challenge where he is promptly ignoring most of the actual prompts and just drawing characters that he feels like, but still saying, today's prompt was, like Scallop. So I drew Mob from Mob Psycho 100, just stuff like that, but he's having a grand old time and they're really talented artists. So check them out.
Well, hell yeah. Everybody go check them out. Give them a follow. Let them know we sent you. And on that note, gentlemen, you guys usually, like the past couple of weeks, you basically tell me to go fuck myself when I ask you if you have anything to plug. So is there anything you'd like to recommend to anybody?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
All right. Willie, what about you?
You don't have to. But you can.
All right. On that note, everybody, next week, I believe it's going to be, our next episode is going to be just me and Willie. And wait. Well, hold on. Right? Isn't it next week? Isn't it Shivers 2? That's going to be the next game, by the way, is Shivers 2. That's the game that you're going to be out of town for?
Yeah.
Maybe.
TBD. We'll figure it out in post.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see you next time for Shivers 2. For the Brothers of Destruction, for Wayward Cross Comics, Paul Korn, thank you for joining us, my good sir. As always, guys, keep it spooky.